Well, you one of the things that you've always focused on, and you really go into this in the book, again, why it's revealing philosophically, but one of the things that's distinguished you is when people talk about national security, especially with regard to Israel, almost always they're talking 100% about military strength. But you argue at length that that's only half of it. The other half is economic freedom. Can you explain why economic freedom is such an important national security issue and why it is life or death for democracy?
Well, again, you have to go to Jabotinsky's seminal article, not on the theory of public pressure, this time on what he called the Iron Wall. And he said that once the Jewish state was established, it would be still challenged by its neighbors. He wasn't Pollyannish about it. He understood that we would be challenged and that our very existence would be challenged again and again and again by our Arab neighbors, which is exactly what happened. And he said, well, when would that stop? It would stop only when our neighbors saw an iron wall, really of military strength, and they would, crash against that wall again and again. Eventually, they'll, that would lead to a gradual acceptance of Israel. And certainly, I read that article. I heard it from my father, and my father was very clear about that too. He added that the iron wall also would include the ability to influence public opinion, especially American public opinion. That was part of our national strength. But I thought that wasn't enough. So when I came into power, and even before that, I believed that military power is not going to be sufficient for the simple reason that airplane, fighter craft, F-35s, submarines, drones, military intelligence, cyber, which I later pioneered and made Israel a leading force in the world in this realm. All these have one common characteristic. They cost money, an enormous amount of money. Now, where are you going to get the money? Because soon the needs will outstrip your ability to pay for them. So you can't just have brave soldiers, we do. You can't just have exceptional commanders, we do. At a certain point, Napoleon's equation that power is mass times volition times will, that multiple, if you don't have a sufficient mass, it doesn't make any difference if you have all the will and all the courage in the world, you'll fall. Courageous commanders and soldiers have died before superior forces. So how do we get mass? How do we get to pay for the growing expenses of a modern army? Well, in Israel, the answer was very clear initially. Oh, that's easy. You tax the rich. But if you live in a socialist or semi-socialist economy, you don't have that many rich people. And besides, they'll leave the country. So you won't have a base. And I came to the conclusion, especially after my years at MIT and the Boston Consulting Group, I described that in the book too, that you needed something else. You needed free markets. You needed a free market economy to generate the growth that will give you the means. That's the only way you're going to really have the material needs for a strong military is by having a strong economy. To have a strong economy, you need a free economy. And it wasn't sufficient to have a highly educated population or technological capabilities that emanate from what you do in the army, especially in military intelligence, because education and technology by themselves do not make you rich. If that were the case, then the Soviet Union would have been one of the richest countries in the world. They had a highly educated population. They had brilliant scientists, mathematicians, metallurgists, physicists, yet they were dirt poor. They ultimately faced bankruptcy. You must have something else. Science, education, and technology do not make you rich. Free markets do. The combination of free markets and high technology is unbeatable. That's where I wanted to take Israel. I could only build the iron wall, and Israel could only build the iron wall if we liberated the genius of our people, the genius of our entrepreneurs, the initiative that they have built in them, but that was completely strangled by a socialist economy. So I had to lead as prime minister and later as finance minister and later again as prime minister, a free market revolution that would give us the means to build up our defense. That's something I speak about at length, the free market revolution that was very, very difficult to do in Israel, to change the mindset and change the policies. So, and what happened was it worked. It actually worked because Israel now, its GDP per capita, which was trailing all of Western Europe, is now basically surged ahead. It's ahead of Britain, it's ahead of France, it's ahead of Japan, it's ahead of Germany. So Israel became, with the free market revolution, a much wealthier country, and one that is able to support a very powerful military and very powerful military and cyber intelligence.